Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Thanks as always for checking out the videos. I'm putting this introduction together because at the end of this video you're about to watch, I'm going to be referring to Marshall from Going Gear. And if you didn't know, Marshall recently passed away, but I made the video you're about to watch months and months ago. He sent me the zero tolerance knife for review that we're about to talk about here, and then he and I were talking, and we were always trying to kind of think outside the box rather than just straight up gear reviews. While they do have their place, you know, what are different topics we could talk about? So at the end of this whole video, you're going to hear me talk about Marshall and just my appreciation for his entrepreneurial spirit. But I want to put this intro together because obviously it's going to be weird if you hear me talking about him like he's still around when he has obviously passed away. So yeah, this is kind of a dedication video, I guess, in some ways, to his legacy. You know, that he was a guy who was entrepreneurial, thinking outside the box, was always trying to innovate and do things differently. And so even just the idea of scary knife syndrome and making a video that's not just a straight up gear review, again, while they have their place, he was the guy who was always trying to press the envelope a little bit when it came to gear and YouTube and things like that. So I just wanted to share that with you before you watch this. Enjoy the video. Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. Today I want to talk to you about this knife, which is the Zero Tolerance 0920, and I really want to use this knife as kind of a jumping off point for a bigger discussion. So what I want to talk to you about today is what I'm calling S.K.S, Scary Knife Syndrome. I got this knife from Going Gear for review, so I've been EDCing it and testing it out, and I showed it to a friend of mine who's not a big knife guy, but you know, he doesn't mind knives, and I took it out and handed it to him, and he opened it up and he just went, wow, like big knife, kind of scary knife. And I was like, that's interesting. This knife is not huge in my opinion. This knife is not super, you know, like tactical looking, like it's a fighting knife or something like that. It's very lightweight because of its construction. End to end, you're looking at 9 inches, less than a 4-inch blade by a little bit. Silver, so it's not black, which kind of makes a lot of people think, my sense at least is people think, you know, tactical, law enforcement, military. But this knife made him kind of go like, whoa, that's a big knife. And so I thought, let's talk today about what makes knives scary to people, and in general, what makes them scary to non-knife people, people who don't carry knives or use knives that often. So I want to talk about this knife and some of the features that I think might make it a little bit intimidating for people. I do want to let you know that I love this knife. It's been a great EDC knife, despite the fact that compared to, you know, a smaller pocket knife, this one could be considered a little bit large. Super lightweight because you got titanium. The steel is 20, what exactly? CPM 20 CV. I always call it 20V. But CPM 20 CV, so it's you know, a high-end steel. It's going to keep an edge for a long time. Super ergonomic, very, look at that pocket clip, very flush, so when you grab a hold of it, you don't feel like it's digging into your hand. So yeah, definitely I want to encourage you to check this out over at Going Gear, links down below. But again, this is just the jumping off point for the bigger discussion. So here's some things I think. I think the fact that it's all metal and there's no wood in this knife for some people makes it intimidating. I don't even know who makes this, but let's see. Tennessee Whiskey, that's what it is. But it's a pocket knife and it's got wood in it. And I don't think wood is like the make or break thing to make a knife look not scary, but it feels more like kind of, oh, this is grandpa's knife, you know? It's a fold out pocket knife and it's got some wood in it. It's got some gold in it. And I think for some people that's like, that makes them feel like it's grandpa's knife. So maybe it's just, you know, it's a knife for whittling or doing a little bit of, you know, carving, something like that. Being that this one is all metal, you know, and it looks like metal, I think for some people they're kind of like, all right, that feels like a more aggressive or scarier knife. All right, I'm going to tell you something kind of ironic now. I'm out in like a sort of a conservation recreation area, but not a lot of people come to this spot. But I hear some voices in the background and I'm like, all right, I got to make sure these are put away because if people come up and I've got a bunch of knives, they're going to freak out. So even I am dealing with scary knife syndrome, not for me, but that other people might be scared. So anyhow, another thing that might intimidate people about a knife, and maybe this one in particular for my friend, was the blade size. So this is just under 4 inches for a blade. It doesn't feel massive to me, but it is a wide blade, and 4 inches may just be that like, oh, that's getting kind of scary because it's a large knife. Maybe 2 inches or less feels less intimidating to people. That's just kind of my gut level thinking. Compare this knife, the Zero Tolerance, to like the Kershaw Launch. Just obviously this is a tiny little blade. I wonder if people would be much more comfortable with this versus this. I think the fact that this is an auto would probably freak some people out because you press the button and the blade comes out and they're like, whoa, that's so scary. So back to the main point, which is I think the blade size is a big deal for people when they see a larger blade. Even if it's, you know, sleek and not like a fighting knife, they're still going to go, that's a big blade, so it's scary. Another thing that I think may be an issue for people is blade shape. So this one's got a sweeping edge, it's got a dip that comes in, there's some jimping you could see up on the top. I just wonder if that's kind of like, oh, that looks scary. I was looking at this one, this is from Ferrum Forge. And I mean, even that, it's got, you know, the cutout, it's got different angles, a big sweeping edge. Part of me wonders, do these look kind of futuristic to people? And that's what freaks them out, as compared to, say, something like this. This is, I think it's called the 06 Assist. I can't remember exactly, but this knife from Gerber, it's just kind of a relatively plain looking blade, you know? It's got a little bit of angle to it, you know, with your grind, but nothing too fancy. But compare that blade to that blade, and I wonder if just people are like, this one looks scary because it's just scary looking. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, so let's hear your comments on that. So I've got one final thought on I think why some people are intimidated by certain knives. We've got size, we've got blade shape, we've got the actual materials that are used to construct the knife. I think the other one might be the tip. Now that is a sharp tip, obviously you can pierce with that. Look at this, this is like a bright emergency knife that's used in Italy, but that rounded tip. Now obviously, like, you're not going to stab anything with this very effectively versus this, but I wonder if the actual tip of the knife makes a huge deal to people. Like, if it doesn't feel as pointy, to use that term, if it doesn't feel as pointy, then they're like, I'm less intimidated. If it's more rounded, yeah, I generally feel safer. This one, I was thinking a little bit about the serrations, you know, would that freak people out? But the main point I want to make, no pun intended here, is about the tip of the knife. If it's pointy versus if it's more rounded when it comes to scary knife syndrome. Alright guys, so that's pretty much it from me. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section down below. So think about a situation where maybe you opened up a box, and to do that you took out your knife to, you know, cut the tape off, and somebody was like, whoa, look at that knife, that's scary. What do you think it was about that knife or that situation that scared somebody? I just think it'd be an interesting discussion for those of us who carry knives and use knives often as tools. What are the things that make other people feel intimidated by them? What causes scary knife syndrome? I want to give a big shout out to Going Gear. I've got a link to this knife down in the description section if you want to pick this one up. And I like Marshall because he's always thinking outside the box when it comes to videos. You know, there's a place for just straight up reviews, but he's always thinking about what's different ways to communicate information about outdoor gear, knives, flashlights, those types of things. So if you're going to pick up outdoor gear, I want to encourage you to head over there and support them because they do a good job with what they're doing. And I appreciate Marshall's kind of innovative and entrepreneurial kind of mindset when it comes to making videos and things like that. Thanks as always for checking out the videos. Please subscribe to Everyday Tactical Vids here on YouTube if you haven't done so already. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Check us out on Instagram and Tumblr as well. More videos coming soon. Take care. Hey, what's up everyone? Tim here from Everyday Tactical Vids. I recently put a video recently.